Arr, grog.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Side Shed Podcast. I'm Matthew Weir. I'm joined by Keri Warbis. How you doing, Keri?
Hello. I'm good. Yeah. New Robert has joined us.
He has. What do you think of him?
I'm enjoying him. I think it's a tough gig, and I think they've purposefully brought him in a sort of quite agitated, angry state, because I think it's probably not easier for the actor, but I think easier for the listeners to adjust rather than him trying to be gentle, Robert, with his very well-known voice. I think it could well be on purpose that they've got him grumping to get us used to him. I'm fine with it. I've almost forgot at points where he was talking to, when they were looking at the hairs and stuff. How about you?
Well, we first got to hear him on Sunday when he was spitting in Mrs. Philpot's llama scramble or something, wasn't it?
Llama scramble. Oh yeah, he was getting very angry about poaching eggs, and they're very critical, aren't they, the Philpots?
Yeah, I mean, poaching eggs in a cafe is literally the worst job ever. That's whenever I go into a cafe and I see, they've got eggs Benedict on the menu, and it's like, I know for sure that some poor soul is in the back there with a pot on the rolling boil, poaching eggs endlessly all day, and it's just horrific. At first, I kind of thought, okay, I can't quite take to him as Robert, but I'm going to go with it. And then I noticed, as I was doing my re-listen later in the week, I had him on 1.3 speed, and he sounded much more like Robert.
Did he? Oh, right, okay. Interesting. He had a little bit of a tone of Tony, I thought, at times, very early on.
Well, someone else said he sounded like Jack Woolley, but I'll come back to that later.
Yeah, I'm pleased, and I like you, I'm rolling with it.
So after the break, we're going to get into the fact that he is involved in this storyline with George. They're going to find out whether Bartleby is the oldest horse in the world. I mean, the second oldest horse is called what, Keri?
Badger.
Yeah, a Welsh Arab cross. And
it was funny, wasn't it? Because I thought they'd made that up, but it's actually true.
Yeah, facts matter, Keri.
Facts matter.
They do indeed.
Yes. Let's take a little break, and then we'll talk Bartleby and Badger the horse.
Bartle bollocks.
The Cider Shed presents Badger the Wonder Horse. Each week, Badger saves the villagers from dire conversational consequences.
Come on, kids. Let's go see Arkwright Hall.
Arkwright Hall, you say? In the beginning, this Victorian-style mansion served as a community center with a field study center and a soundproof room. Owing to the lack of maintenance through the years, it fell into a...
Thanks, Badger.
Am I detecting you don't really like this storyline, Keri?
Oh, it's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those silly old competitive nonsense ones that just sort of weaves its way through for a few weeks. George thinks it's going to make him some social media millionaire.
Yeah, I have doubts about that because I teach kids that use TikTok a lot, and I wouldn't imagine them getting all excited about an old horse.
No, I don't know quite how he would pitch that to get the money that he so craves and the fame.
Maybe there's another app that's a rival to TikTok called Clip Clop.
Why the long Facebook?
Oh my God.
Yes, now, so Bartleby, don't give a shit, to be honest, but it's a way of getting various characters to chat to each other, isn't it? So there was George and Robert chatting. Robert and Oliver are quite invested in the research and sleuthing.
Robert went down to the county archive. He was there for a few hours and he found a copy of the Echo from October the 27th, 1983, where he discovered that Bartleby had been liberated from a bunch of horse rustlers that were operating in Borsetshire in the early 80s. I was fully expecting Marky to pop out from behind a hedge and go, "All right, yeah, that was me. I was 6, yeah. Me and Tommy, my mate Tommy, he lives in Fleetwood now, 27 Archer Street. But don't you go looking for him, all right? Know what I mean?" And then he just disappears back behind the hedge again.
Yeah, I did think he was going to say a name from the article that we would go, oh, like Marky, maybe.
Yeah, Harold Chilcott.
Yes. Hey, Philpotts, the Philpotts who are staying at, what's it called, Bed and Breakfast. Have we heard of Philpotts before?
I think we have, yeah. Ambridge Lodge, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. I'm pretty sure Philpotts have been mentioned, haven't they?
Not sure.
Or have we got a Patreon supporter who's a Philpott?
We might have a Philpott in our Patreon, yeah. Is it them staying in Ambridge Lodge?
Yeah, they're staying. I hope so.
Robert's spitting in your poached eggs.
I liked how Linda just sort of sent him out for a walk to calm down, didn't she? I did worry that he might be feeling a bit emasculated because he wasn't coping in the breakfast. She's better at that. Then her primrose painting was better than his hellebore painting. And then she became cricket chair when he wanted to. I mean, what has he got left in life?
What was the problem he was having with his painting? There was purple everywhere, and then Oliver said, well, just smudge it around everywhere. Just like, imagine Robert just put his hand on the canvas and was just like, meh.
Yes. Had he overworked it or something?
Yeah. He was worried that Leonard was did you say he's an experienced painter? And Linda said, oh, I wouldn't say experienced. Jill told me his snowdrops look like lampposts.
Yeah, I loved that Leonard thing where he thinks he can do it really well and he's terrible. Yeah, what do you think about the emasculation of Robert Snell?
Well, that led him to apply for cricket chair, didn't it?
Yeah, which he didn't get either because Linda got it. His testicles going further up inside him.
She hasn't definitely got it yet, has she? They're going to go away and think about it.
Yeah, but it was offered to her and then he went, hello, I've come for the cricket chair thing. Tracy sent me and I went, oh, shit. It was all an afterthought, wasn't it? And they'd prefer to have Linda as well.
Well, once she pitched and said that she could get funding from Grey Gables.
To do up the pavilion. Canny, isn't she?
All you need to do is pander to her ego and you're in.
Yeah, Chris did that quite well, didn't he?
Did I miss something at a point where the conversation of cross wires happened between Tracy and Robert and Linda, etc., or did that just happen off air? I know that Chris spoke to Linda, but Robert got it into his head when he was talking to Oliver that Tracy had suggested to him that he should apply.
Yeah, there was no crossed wires. I thought Oliver suggested it to Robert, didn't he? Oliver sort of said, why don't you go for the cricketing thing?
I thought that Robert mentioned it to Oliver when they were hair-noncing, that Tracy had actually mentioned it to him when they'd been in the ball.
Yes, you are quite right. Robert did say he was considering the chair of the cricket committee when they were looking for hairs. Yeah,
we didn't hear that conversation, did we? We only heard Tracy and Linda talk.
Correct, yes.
I like the way Tracy said, what are you doing here tonight? Anything in particular? Well, we're just here to celebrate Robert's regeneration. Like Doctor Who, you know?
Yes, a pint of Shires.
We don't see Robert in here much. I was like, yeah, there's reason for that, Trace.
For the second coming over here. And I'll have a small Sauvignon Blanc, please.
Yeah, she said a Savvy Blanc. And she went, yes, the Sauvignon Blanc.
I liked it when Tracy suggested that Robert try some karaoke as his hobby.
I was waiting for Linda's pronunciation of karaoke after that.
It would be good if he did, though, wouldn't it?
What do you think his tune would be?
God, something about being a henpecked poor soul. It would be some sort of country and western thing, wouldn't it?
No, I think it would be bird related. I reckon it'd be Steve Miller Band, Fly Like an Eagle, and he'd absolutely ace it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Either that or the Orville song.
I wish I could fly right up in the sky, but I can't. You can. I can't.
That's going
the other way round. Or is it you can? I don't know. Something to do with can't and can. Speaking of singing, though, what about, please can you make this happen? Brian has been singing Start Me Up by the Rolling Stones because he's so jaunty and in love.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Have you done it already?
No, I haven't. No, I've been incredibly busy. It's end of term, Keri. But I'll see what I can do for you, okay? Because Charles Collingwood actually features on loads of audio samples that I have for the students. So I've got loads of unbroken moments of Brian talking as
Nice.
people that aren't Brian.
I thought you were going to say he features on and then name a Rolling Stones album. Brian Collingwood, he actually featured on Exile on Main Street. That's not one. Is that one by them?
Yeah.
Sounds like it is. Oh, right. Okay,
I think that's the arguably the creative peak. They recorded it in Monaco, didn't they? In a big old country house that was an ex-Nazi den.
Oh, is that the druggy one?
Yeah.
The extra druggy one. Because partway through saying it, I thought, no, that's a Bob Dylan one. And I doubted myself. So I should have stuck with my guns, much like I did in the film quiz that we did on the Patreon episode.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, more about that later, I think, Keri.
Okay, yeah.
If you think this is going to be competitive, who are they going to get competitive with Bartleby? The only thing I could think is Bert Horrobin, sore from losing out to Neville for oldest drinker, is going to don a horse costume and start galloping around in the field, claiming to be the oldest horse.
Well, it's only competitive in that if they can prove it is the oldest, they've won the oldest one in the world, haven't they? There's always something going on where people are trying to win something.
We're going to get dodgy reporters from the Echo back down again, aren't we?
Yeah, they're going to falsify stuff. And because they did find it was some girl who'd had Bartleby when she was a youngster, wasn't it? As part of that horse thief article.
Kimberly, yeah, she got it for her 10th birthday on June the 3rd, 1991. Badger!
Badger!
Please tell us more about Kimberly.
Well, Keri, Kimberly was the granddaughter of Finn Hazeldine. Now, Finn Hazeldine was first mentioned in August 1987 when there was a trading
Badger. Even my mum sent me, and I showed you, a badger photograph this week because she was out in Seaford along the coast and there was a printing shop that's called Badger. Went, oh, look, Keri, what I've noticed.
That's a bad ad for a printing shop, though, because you wouldn't go there for colour, would you?
Yeah, exactly. Black and white, isn't it?
You know why it's just black and white? It's because they're set in their ways. That's all my badger jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have a swig too, Keri. Cheers.
I'm so sorry. That was noisy, wasn't it? Delicious. Portuguese red tonight.
On last week's episode, you answered whilst taking a swig.
Wow, it's because I'm quite relaxed. It's like,
Right,
it's like being with a friend, Matthew.
That's what they say, Keri. Is that enough about New Robert? I think we've done him.
Yeah, if anything occurs to us along the way later, we can pop it in, can't we? But yeah, I'm enjoying him.
I'm glad they didn't write him out. I know I said, and people will go back and say, well, they won't, hopefully, because they're not that obsessive. But I said at the time, I thought it was probably better and more emotive if they wrote him out. But the moment I heard he was recast, I was like, I'll go with it. All these people that said, no, it shouldn't happen. I was like, well, just give them a chance.
Yeah.
Didn't George actually allege that he was a peeping Tom?
Oh, again, very funny. How's your peeping going? And he went, pardon? Oh, your binoculars. It's just so silly and simple, isn't it? But good.
As someone that's had a pet that had a passport and travelled with it, I shouldn't be that amused at the fact that there are horse passports, but I just have this vision of a horse in customs on Border Patrol. Like some guy opening up the suitcase and being like, did you pack this hay yourself, sir?
Even better, the horse in the photo booth.
Yeah,
having the passport photo. Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine, like in Bristol bus station, trying to jam a horse into that little photo booth.
Yes. With the hooves sort of awkwardly out to the side.
Coming out, it's like
below that orange curtain.
Oh, he's gone in there again. It was 4 more photos of his fucking neck. Brianda.
Oh, Brianda. Loving them. Absolutely loving them. It's been a good week this week. Kate and Alice twigged that Brian was feeling all perky, and I enjoyed that they decided between them more so Kate than Alice, that they would ask him directly if he's seeing anyone. So that's what they did. He hasn't revealed to them who it is.
No, funny
And
that.
yeah, but it was good as well that they went, oh, don't worry, crack on. You know, uncancel your meeting and go out. So that was good, wasn't it? Quite healthy.
Yeah, Kate had no agency, did you? Alice was just going, do what you want, Dad. Live your life, be free. And then Kate just went, yeah, I agree, but you didn't ask me.
Thanks for asking.
Sunday started with Brian improving Kate's tofu scramble by getting loads of pork sausage fat spitting into it.
Oh, yes, tofu. And they eat margarine. No one has margarine, do they?
I think that's a bit of a health balance story, isn't it? Because Brian had that angina attack and he's quite clearly frying sausages, but he's not having butter, so it's okay.
Right, of course, yes. And also, Brian, they knew something was up with him because he even complimented her tie-dye jumpsuit, which sounds absolutely disgusting.
What was the other reason that Kate noticed that something was different about Brian, though?
Well, there was the singing, wasn't there, that we've already
Yeah.
mentioned. The complimenting the... Oh, he's got a purple aura.
I suspected that's just because when he was at Grey Gables, he brushed past Robert's painting. But the chronology isn't right for that joke, I've just realised.
No, it's not. Yeah, so he's got a good aura. And then he went out with Miranda to Les Sœurs Heureuses.
They mentioned that the Duxford sisters got a mention for the first time since one of them lopped their finger off with some secateurs.
Oh, yeah, but Miranda loves them, doesn't she?
There was a kiss when they arrived.
There was, yeah. And she had a brilliant line, which was, are we going the whole hog then?
Yeah. Now, I thought either that's sex or the Duxford sisters are now doing a full-on hog roast at the table.
Which is possible in farm world, isn't it?
She clarified, didn't she? She said, I mean, are we having the 6-course tasting menu or are we just going to be sensible and have the a la carte? At which point I expected Linda to pop up from under the table and go, do you mean the degustation?
The a la carte.
What's Fleming like a llama into their Chablis?
Like Justin. Oh, there was a line about Justin this week, which was flim flam. And I thought, do you mean flim flem though?
He needs a halls, doesn't he? Packet of lockets.
Oh, God, yes. Size of a piano, that grobbler.
Do you think she was about to say he wears a hairpiece?
Oh, that was good, wasn't it? Where she was, oh, has he still got a lengthy bathroom routine? And yeah, because Brian said, I think it's to do with his hair. And she wanted to dish and went, oh, actually, that would be in breach of my divorce agreement. But she described Justin as a carefully constructed facade.
The projection of wealth is different to the actual reality sometimes.
Yes, yeah. And it was interesting that when she married him, he had no money and she had to bail him out. And then the implication there was that he hadn't admitted to not having any money and perhaps married her for her money, which wouldn't surprise me at all.
Brian was loving it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Because when he walked into the home farm office on Wednesday morning, Justin was there trying to talk Stella into taking this non-executive role. And you just heard Brian go, Justin, what are you doing here? I thought he was going to say, you broke-ass
But going back to the restaurant, it was so great and atmospheric how Brian and Miranda, they're so at ease with each other that they didn't notice the time had flown and they felt sorry for the waiting staff. We've all been in restaurants, haven't we, where you're just having such a nice time and you spot the waiter and waitress sort of chatting to each other, desperate to go home.
I am the absolute worst in that I'm the one that feels that more than anything, having worked in hospitality. I'm always the one saying, guys, we should go home. And people are like, what? We're still finishing. I was like, they've turned the fucking lights on. Let's go.
They've got their coats on. Yeah. But it was indicative of how well they're getting along and what a lovely time they're having.
Yeah, I cannot wait because Justin poked the bear a bit, didn't he? And then said to Brian, well, you don't want to sit at home on your own. You know, bring Kate or Alice.
Yeah, you've got to bring somebody. But Miranda invited Brian back to hers at the end of that meal, didn't she?
Yeah. She said, I would say coffee, but we've already had that. And then Brian went, oh, I see.
Yes. And politely declined because he lives with Kate and she'd wonder where he was. But she was very nice about it again and said, you know, another time. They're going to shag soon.
I believe so. We are very honest with the listener. We're recording on a Thursday night because, Keri, you're spending Friday where?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to the Royal Albert Hall tomorrow. I've got a complimentary ticket to go and see the Young Fathers Teenage Cancer Trust gig in the Royal Albert Hall. I love the band. What a venue. What a good cause. I'm going all by myself and I really like going to gigs on my own. Yes, I'm off on an adventure. I'll be on a very awfully late train back to Brighton tomorrow.
Have you ever been to the Albert Hall before?
I have, yeah.
Every year, last night of the proms.
No, Matthew. I saw Brian Ferry.
Okay, when was that?
God knows. A long time ago. He was all on his own. It wasn't with Roxy Music.
Okay, so you go to gigs all by yourself. He was there all on his own. Was it just him on stage and you sat there in the auditorium with no one else?
Just the two of us.
Very intimate gig, isn't it? The Royal Albert Hall.
What a building.
I've never been there.
Oh, have you not?
No. Just things like Eric Clapton paying there for 25 nights in the late 80s puts me off.
Well, yeah. Nobody wants that, do they?
Not even Eric Clapton.
No, probably. But we're recording this Thursday and we'll do a probable top-up on Saturday about the Friday episode, which is sounding like it'll be a corker.
All right, Keri, should we take a little break and talk Stella, Pip, Hannah, Chris and cricket?
Yeah.
I must get going. Got a meeting today at Bridge Farm.
Bridge Farm has been through its fair share of developments. Initially, it was in Barrow Estate, but has since changed
Badger!
location. The 68-hectare farm.
I love you, Badger.
I'll be honest, Keri, I actually really enjoyed this week. It felt like old-fashioned Archers to me. You had Robert and Oliver. It wasn't Jim, all right, but it was Oliver. And then you had cricket chat.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a bit of relationship intrigue as well going on. Chris is out here as vice captain, trying to persuade Stella and Hannah to join the cricket team. He compliments Hannah on her body shape and she goes, Actually, she could be an oldest horse doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, she was behaving very strangely. It was good, wasn't it?
I just imagine Stella was just there with a bitch please face the whole time this thing was happening, just like looking on with the massive wry grin on her face.
Oh, she holds herself on the crease as well, very well.
Well, that's very important. Yeah, so they both decline. Chris goes off, but I loved it with a little bit of probing that she opened up about that whole period about her and Tom shagging, and there was the overlap with Natasha.
And she said to Stella, don't tell anyone, but that'll come out at some point, won't it?
Yep. But she was shagging someone else as well, wasn't she? Wasn't she at least dating that guy Rufus?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. What do you think of Hannah and Chris as a pairing?
Hiss, as someone very intelligently suggested on our Facebook. We'll have to go and check that. I quite like them as a pairing, actually. Unlikely, I'd say.
Do you reckon Chris will be like, nah?
Well, the only thing that would cause problems is the way Chris pronounced lager.
Oh, yes.
He went full William, didn't he?
Yeah, lager.
He was totally normal Chris, nice, soft, kind of slightly West Country action. He went, yeah, all right, Hannah, I'd love a lager.
Oh, okay, I'll bring it over to you.
When he arrived, he went, all right, Hannah, you okay? And she went, why, don't I look it? What the f*** are you doing?
Yeah.
Chill.
She hasn't been like that before, has she? Around him.
And she said, "Yeah, you drink lager, don't you?" Not that I've been watching you. And it's a cocoa you have before bed, isn't it? At 11:15 every evening. And then she starts Vic Reeves rubbing her legs, kind of stuff.
Yeah. You prefer boxers to budgie smugglers, don't you?
Yeah. You like the fish fingers with breadcrumbs instead of the batter, don't you? Because I've been through your bins, Chris.
Oh, I don't know. I can't see it either, really. I kind of wish well for Hannah.
What? Oh, God, hang on.
Mm.
Emma can't stand Hannah, can she? Because
Oh,
of the
this'll be
face-off with
good.
George.
Yes, which makes it even better. You know, if she thought Alice was bad, it's like, oh, I'd like Chris to have someone lovely. And then Hannah, hello, it's me.
But I would say that probably that thing with Emma and Hannah, well, she never liked the way that Hannah treated Neil.
Yep.
But I think there was an element of the penny dropping with George and the whole toxic masculinity thing, wasn't there?
Yes, she did plant the sausage roll wrapper. After
come
all.
on. You can't prove that, Keri. Let it
We
go.
can't prove otherwise, which is the whole point.
Did OJ do it, Keri?
He definitely did, yeah.
Have you ever seen the clip where he did that documentary with Ruby Wax?
No.
They're at some racetrack or some event, and some woman comes up as they're walking along. She went, "Hey," and he shakes hands with her, and she went, "Yeah, I've always wanted to meet a murderer." And this woman walks off, and Ruby Wax says, "Doesn't that bother you?" And he goes, "No, not at all." And then it cuts to Ruby Wax just talking to the camera, and she went, and then later he did this as a joke, and the doorbell rings, and they go, she has the camera, and she opens the door, and he runs in with the banana and goes like, and does a stabbing motion.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, absolute psychopath, I think.
Oh, yeah. That when he tried the glove on and tried to show that it didn't fit in court. Have you seen that clip?
I watched that because
The whole trial.
in a pre-internet era, I think BBC Two used to do a weekly roundup every Sunday in the evening, and I used to sit there and inhale it.
Yeah, it was fascinating, wasn't it?
Because I was utterly convinced he was guilty.
Mm.
And they would, well, I still am, but I was utterly convinced they would find him guilty.
The Kardashians' dad was the lawyer, wasn't it?
Yeah, have you seen the Netflix show where David Schwimmer plays the dad?
No, I haven't. But he's good, isn't he? He's good at acting, good at directing, good at theatre. There's more to him than Ross Geller.
I had no idea that Rosie had been in the pavilion because they need a new chair.
I absolutely love that Stella can't fucking stand her.
She's already getting pissed off, isn't she? Pip's ringing her going, "You going to come home? Rosie's going to do a puppet show." And you can actually hear Pip going like, well, I was planning to stay and work till 1 a.m, actually, Pip.
Yeah, I was planning to stab my own eyeballs out with a rusty butter knife. Sorry, can't make it.
It reminded me of a wonderful tweet, which I think was from back in COVID days, which was from a guy called Ned Hartley. And he tweeted out, "My kids realised that I was missing Glastonbury this year, so they put on a music festival for us in the garden. It was, and I cannot stress this enough, fucking awful."
This is it. So you've got a mixture here, haven't you, of other people's kids being fucking annoying, which is always the case without exception, and Pip, who's like the uber annoying individual, just really dictating and nagging and calling and being pushy and presumptuous. And where are you? When are you coming home? You know that she needs an early night and she needs her tea, and you have to read the story. And would you like to come to Lower Loxley with us over the Easter, I think it was, wasn't it? Because she's really exhausting to look after on my own. It's like, oh, that's nice, isn't it? Absolutely awful. Please, Stella, run into the arms of Hannah, I thought was going to happen. I was hoping, because they sound so much more natural together, you know.
Well, the only thing I could think is that Chris rejects Hannah. Hannah comes home. Stella's there after a rough argument with Pip about Rosie.
Yeah, brilliant. Bring it on. They already live together.
Yeah, don't even have to go around each other's house, do they?
Easy. Yeah.
The other thing that was weird is I was pretty sure Mr. Prickles Goes to Space is a porn movie.
I wonder when we'll actually hear Rosie.
It'd be like when the T-Rex comes, you mean, in Jurassic Park?
You'll just see sort of glasses of water wobbling. Yeah, so Friday's episode is going to be good because Stella will tell Pip. Oh, because Hannah said, you've got to lay down boundaries. And Stella's like, oh, I can't. And she's like, no, you've got to. So I cannot wait to hear Stella laying down the boundaries. And Brian arriving at the BL board ball with Miranda.
A couple of other things I liked. When Tracy was pulling the pint of Shires for Robert, there was that great pump sound. Did you hear it? The pint was filling. Oh, I just loved that.
It's good, isn't it? And I liked Tracy when she found out about the patriarchal cricket setup with Chris, when she was serving Chris his pie. Would you have pie with chips and or mash, by the way? And then when he said about the vice captainship it being his instead of Tracy's, she just suddenly went into, right, that's £16.95, please.
Yeah.
Just shut down the niceties.
He got a message from Stella and Hannah going, we'll join. We've completely changed our minds. And then Chris went, how's that for promoting gender equality, eh? 2 women up my crease.
Yeah, it's all going to go wrong. You're right. Hannah and Stella, come on.
Yes, there's plenty of cricket innuendos to be had there, aren't there?
Sticky Wicket was one, wasn't it?
Sticky Wicket. I'm thinking of the old Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. Are you walking to square leg or are you just pleased to see me?
Oh, God.
All right, Keri, let's take a little break and then we'll discuss socials and other stuff that might have happened on our Patreon this weekend.
Lovely.
You can't beat a pint of Shires in the Bull.
The Bull used to be a tied house, and its brewery was called Stowhampton Breweries between 1957, when they took it over, and Jack and Peggy Woolley buying it
Badger!
in 1959, when it became a free house. The Bull sells Shires.
Stop, Badger! He's already dead!
Yay, Badger, what are you drinking?
I received a photo of something quite disturbing on our Facebook group, which is called the Cider Shed Podcast. If you want to go and follow us there, Keri, I'm going to send it to you now. It was from Claudia Climbing the Walls.
Oh, it is a sort of PVC front door with 2 large glass panels that have been made stained glass, and there are 2 badgers in the lower pane.
Badger!
And Claudia's put, just leaving this here.
Here's another one from Mims Dawson Riley, who is a new patron, actually, who we'll be hearing from in a bit.
She's put, sweet Jesus, they're real. And there is an image of 2 Easter eggs, which are cheese-alicious, cheesy Easter eggs.
Have a cheese egg.
Do you want to do 20 minutes on cheese eggs, Keri?
No, thanks. Lovely. Thanks, Mims.
Yeah, so that's where you follow us, the Cider Shed Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Cider Shed Pod as well. That's the same as Twitter, I believe, Keri, right?
Yeah, at the Cider Shed Pod is our Twitter, and Blue Sky, we are at the Cider Shed Pod .bsky.social.
Now, that Instagram I mentioned, we often post our reviews up there. Do we have any of those lovely old reviews, Keri?
We do. And do you know who has written this lovely review?
Oh, I don't.
I think it might be Mims Dawson, because it's by Little Miss Mims. And the title is Fresh, Bold and Lightly Spicy. I thought I was alone in a wasteland of isolated mole people who tune into the Archers each week. I'm 35 years old and already 5 years into this strange fandom. I thought I'd be walking a lonely road for a long time. Then I found the Cider Shed, and, beyond my wildest dreams, they revealed the truth to me. There are others. This podcast is essential listening for any Archers fan. Failure to do so will result in many adverse effects, the most severe of which is missing out on the sweet satisfaction of Matt, Keri, and then in brackets, and Peter's delightful humour-laden analysis, a bright light through the mysterious dark forest of being an Archers fan.
I like that, but who the f*** is Matt?
I knew you wouldn't like that.
No, that's all right. I don't mind.
You've made her feel awkward now.
Do you know why she shouldn't feel awkward? Because she also became a patron this week.
Because you're going to edit it out.
No, I'm not. So, Mims, we're very grateful. This is for you.
Mims, Dawson, Riley, welcome to the Cider Shed Patron Posse. Thanks so much. We're delighted to have you. Now grab your and get down.
Thanks, Mims. We're very appreciative of you coming on board. Also, this is for Pat McClelland.
Hey there, Pat McClelland. Thank you so much for becoming a Cider Shed patron. How can we ever thank you enough? Would you please accept this as a token of our gratitude?
Thanks, Pat.
Cheers, Pat. Much appreciated. If you want to become a patron, you can do that at www.patreon.com. You will get the episodes early on the weekend with no ads. And you will also, I mean, when I say no ads, not the shitty ones, you'll get our silly ones. And you also get a midweek special. Now, we did a midweek special this week, Keri, and a lot of people got involved because I put the feelers out there that you weren't too clued up on movies of the 70s and 80s and possibly beyond. The listenership came to the rescue with movie quotes, and you had to guess the movie.
Courtney said, "Say hello to my little friend."
E.T.
Fucking hell.
I don't know.
How many drugs did you take in the 80s, Keri?
Say hello to my little friend. Who's got a little friend? Well, E.T.'s quite small. I don't know.
This is better stroke worse than I expected it. It's Scarface. Al Pacino.
Oh, I've seen that a lot of times. Oh dear, I love that the answer actually is Scarface.
Courtney sent that in, and I always like that scene in Spinal Tap where they're going through all of their reviews of their past albums, and Marty DeBurgi gets to their album Shark Sandwich, and he says the review of Shark Sandwich is basically a 2-word review: shit sandwich. And I felt Courtney channeled that today on Twitter when he just messaged you and me and just went, E.T. loads of question marks.
I know. And then he did a really good image of me and E.T.
Which I couldn't see because it was age-restricted content, apparently.
It definitely wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, the movie was Scarface. And for all movie aficionados, this is the actual quote from the movie.
Say hello to my little
Badger! Oh, is it when he's going mental with the machine gun on that balcony bit thing?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we had some feedback on that episode, Keri. Catty Pierce said, well, E.T.'s quite small. I don't know. Thank you. I've laughed myself inside out.
Oh, dear.
Helen Davis said, thank you, Keri, for making me feel better about my inability to remember film quotes, stroke title, stroke actors. In brackets, unless we're talking the Airplane series, when all bets are off. Sue Shona said, yep, chuckled all the way up the M80. But what happened to my... And then it was a quote that she sent, and I said that there were loads. We're going to get to them next time. Esther said, not sure what this says about my attitude to the Archers at the moment, but I really like the minimal the Archers chat and the 80s film quotes. Thanks for spoiling us. Kiss.
Yeah, good point.
Joanna Campbell-Black said, love listening to this while I'm in Portugal. Lynn Burda said, Matthew, she was a rabbit. Shake my head. Was she a rabbit? I don't know. There was some debate over whether Jessica Rabbit was a rabbit. Catty Pierce also said, off topic, but as a relatively new Archers listener, I've been having some Twitter chat about storylines that seem to get dropped like hot cheese eggs. I'd love a feature about other storylines that went absolutely bloody nowhere. Long-term listeners must have loads. Harry's blood tests, Jolene's mafia bullshit. Do they do this all the time? Catty, we had an episode about this, didn't we, about 2 or 3 months ago? Storylines or characters that just vanished. If you go back through the midweek specials, you'll find it. But as the Archers machine rumbles on, there's bound to be more of these, so...
Yeah, and yes, they do it all the time.
Yes, so if anyone else thinks of anything else that they feel that they've forgotten, surely let us know.
Because there was even a mention in this week's, wasn't there? Was it Tracy? Who was it? Someone sort of said, "Oh, are there any updates about those the dog fighting people?" And they went, "No."
Ryan got in touch on our Patreon to say, "Badger-worthy note: as an avid The Archers listener for my sins and EastEnders watcher, stipulation for my prison release." I was surprised to hear that Denise was in EastEnders last week because I surely would have noticed. I checked, and then he says in brackets, facts matter.
Facts matter.
But no, it was a different actor.
Oh, we've been led up the garden path there. Who was the person who told us that?
It was posted on our Facebook, so I said that we'll investigate.
Get Robert onto it.
Just to give some credit to the Facebook people, it was John Featonby that said Hannah and Chris equals hiss. And multiple messages about Badger the horse. Joanna Wilde said, did anyone else lose it when they said the name of the oldest living horse? Jan Sparrow said Denise was on Enders this evening. That was on the 14th of March.
Oh.
Hang on. Oh, what the hell's that? Oh, that was Jonathan Parsons posted a clip of Cold Comfort Farm, which was set in Sussex, and they used the word girt in it.
Oh, nice. Oh, lovely Jonathan.
John Featon, he posted a massive picture of Badger with an exclamation, Badger! And he said, sorry, what was the name of the world's oldest living horse again? You know, the one who's dead? This, and then he wrote underneath, this could be less confusing. Scott Anderson said Talfrin Thomas was the Welsh actor in Survivors that you were thinking of eating.
Correct. You are right. That is exactly who it was. Yes. Very sort of distinctive looking chap. He was in Dad's Army as well.
Ryan also got in touch. Ryan, who pointed out the Denise error, he got sent as a DM on Patreon to say, a note on you, Robert. I won't complain because of course he's not the same. However, listening to the Tuesday episode, his voice reminded me of Jack Woolley. I'm sure I'll get over it, but not without worrying he's forgotten who he is again. But if it could mean he'd roll what's left of Peggy swiftly down Lakey Hill, I'd not complain. There was a bit of chat about Denise on our Patreon from Joe. Joe said, this isn't a related post, but just wanted to let you know that I saw Denise on stage last night. Her first appearance is her running about in her bra and knickers while hoovering up some white powder. I'll now imagine that is what she's doing in the practice from now on, which will perk up the Denise Alistair scenes helpfully.
What is the play?
I thought you had a look for what the play was. Didn't you find it?
I did. That was a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
That was on Thursday.
Okay. Esther got in touch on Patreon to say, I'm glad I'm not the only one that misses Trevor. That was in relation to the Trevor special that we did.
Oh.
Daniel Millerchip said, Keri, I just want to say I also had no clue about movies. I was with you the whole way. This is a game friends play with me too and are always outraged. But why should we know these?
Exactly. We've got far more important things filling our beautiful minds, haven't we?
There's certainly enough lines for a second round of Film Warbis.
Oh, good.
All right, Keri, well, this is a Friday. I don't know if listeners will detect something slightly different in my voice. I've gone a bit gravelly in the last 48, so hopefully it's not too much of a leap.
Yeah, and you don't know what day it is.
Oh, it's Saturday, isn't it?
yeah. If it was Friday, that would be normal.
We're going to talk about Friday.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we got Stella, one of the worst cross-purposes conversations we've ever had in The Archers, and they do that all the time. Stella trying to tell Pip, look, I kind of don't like you anymore. Or you kid. Pip's too busy with her hand up a cow's arse to notice what's happening.
Very frustrating. Stella is a forthright, strong woman. What she should have said is, I need to tell you something important without you interrupting and with you paying attention. Then said it.
Well, she led Stella to the bedroom.
Oh, God, that just makes me actually sort of...
Did that noise again, Keri?
Sort of dry heave. I think it's the awful combination of, I can hear Pip's voice doing that and totally ignoring what Stella wants, what she thinks, what she's saying, and just like, basically, you're staying tonight, aren't you? We're not going to talk. Come with me. Time for the bedroom. Why doesn't Stella go, shut up? I don't want this.
Stella was like, the thing is, that fucking awful puppet show the other night, and Pip was like, it was great, wasn't it? You loved it, didn't you?
Rosie loves how much you enjoy doing things like that with her. And the thing is, like, Stella kept starting every sentence really stupidly, trying to be kind, by complimenting Rosie. Oh, you know how much I love and care for Rosie. Yes, it's really great. Oh, it was very well done because it was totally, I can't say frustrating. What's worse than frustrating?
It was yell at the radio stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maddening.
Maddening, yes. It actually had a physical effect, where you're sort of gripping things and tensing.
And it also makes you make weird noises, Keri, it seems.
Yes. Didn't it you?
I don't know. Like, when we were doing the Patreon middle of the week, my stomach was making some funny noises and I very cannily edited them all out. But I'm mid-edit at the moment of this week's episode. And I've got to say, Keri, on your end, there was a noise at one point that went...
Was there?
Yeah, and I've edited it out.
Oh, you should isolate it, make it bigger. It could be a chair movement.
Yeah, a creaky bit of furniture, I think I'd probably put it down to. Occasionally there's a door noise when you're recording as well. I always imagine someone's popped their head around the door to be like, hey, oh, okay. And then they disappear again.
I don't think nobody comes in my room when the door is shut. So it might be the front door, which is right next to the room I'm sitting in, or one of the kids' bedroom doors definitely goes. So it could be that.
I'm suddenly reminded of a wonderful guy called Chris James is his name. He's a Canadian comedian who specialises in prank calling right-wing radio stations that only have about 8 listeners. He picks people who have like their online video so you can see them reacting to him calling in. And there's one guy at the moment who's like recording in his house and there's a door behind him that's always closed. And he's just started this obsessive thing where people just ring up and be like, what's behind the door? Open the door. The guy goes nuts. And lots of people are ringing. It's very funny. So I'm reminded of that. It's called Not Even a Show. And he actually was the one who told me where to get the good AI for voices.
Oh, that's good.
And he has a right-wing radio show called The Road to Concord. And he has a snake behind him on the wall. And there's like a 48-minute supercut of people ringing up going, there's a snake behind you. This guy going absolutely batshit crazy. I'll post the snake supercut in the episode description.
Ooh,
it's
please
very
do.
Funny. Yeah, so we got the BL board. And Miranda dropped a few bombs, didn't she? About, I always need my checkbook when you're around, Justin.
Oh, it was tremendous. What an episode Fridays was. It started with Brian and Miranda on the single malt at his house. He was in his dinner jacket. You can picture the scene, can't you?
Yeah, he always keeps a fruity 18-year-old around the house, doesn't he?
Well, she said, what did she say? Oh, that smells good. And he said, oh, wait till you put it in your mouth or something. I wondered what they were on about. He did say prior to them going out, he had qualms about using Miranda as a means to wind Justin up. They were chatting that way. And Miranda was like, oh, I don't mind. I love it. She was lapping it up. Anything to get under his skin, which does make me slightly nervous that she's only being with Brian to do that.
Use away, she said, didn't she?
Mm.
I did like, she's not put off at all by the fact he's in the smaller house. No. I mean, it's hard, isn't it, when you have to move into a 17th century cottage in a village, isn't it, Keri?
Oh, God. I know. Well, but Lillian was trying to make a thing out of that, wasn't she? towards Miranda. It was quite nice that Lillian and Justin were bickering. Of course, that's how they communicate, isn't it? And then spotted Brian and who he had on his arm, as if it was like a sort of eagle or something.
Yeah, walking in like some Persian prince with a lanner falcon on his arm with one of those little hoods over its head.
Exactly. That's what Miranda is. In fact, Justin called Miranda a manipulative harpy, and that is a bird of some kind, isn't it? It was like a body of a bird and face of a woman.
Greek mythology, isn't it? The harpy.
Yeah, so we're right. She was on his arm. They flew quickly and were cruel and greedy, apparently.
Spot on.
Yeah, maybe.
But as Brian said to Justin to his face, everything you say about her, you could say about him. So.
Yep, too true. There was a great interaction between Lillian and Miranda, wasn't there? Lillian, you don't look a day older than when I last saw you, which means you looked 80 last time and you still do. And they tried to remember when they'd seen each other last, and it was when Miranda went to pick up a couple of vases she'd left behind at the Dower House. There was like, the good tension, wasn't it? And there was the cosmetic surgeon comment, wasn't there? Living with Justin hasn't worn you down like it did me. Either that or you've got a really good cosmetic surgeon. And then Lily went, well, he can only do so much.
We also got potting shed and garden euphemisms, didn't we?
Oh, Dean the gardener, was it?
Yeah.
Yes, because Justin was trying to have a go to piss off Brian, I guess. Like, what did he say about Dean?
He suggested that he'd been potting in other people's beds or something.
Yes, digging in other people's beds. And she went, I have no idea what he was doing in other people's beds. I just know that I was very satisfied with what he was doing in mine. And Brian went, oh my God, let's get another drink.
Yeah, sorry. Are we still talking about gardening here or what?
Yeah, she's a one, isn't she? This Miranda.
We had this, a little photo of a pack of beers seen in Costco. David Mullis sent this into our Facebook. Have a look at this, Keri.
Oh, Badger, Dorset dozen. I hope he bought some.
Yeah, I hope
it's
so
a scene
too.
today in Costco. Nice one, David.
All right, Keri. Well, we've got a little bit of an announcement to make, and let me just have a glass of wine so I can prepare myself. We really like doing the podcast. We've loved doing it, and Keri and I have been having a little chat, and we're both in agreement that I think the time is kind of come to take next week off for Easter.
Oh, Matthew. Naughty boy.
So
that sounded rather final.
Yeah. No, we're taking next weekend off because I've got guests coming and it's a bit nuts. I might actually be over in the UK the weekend after, but we'll try and get an episode out as normal then. So next weekend...
Easter weekend,
yeah. Patrons, never fear. We are going to release something for patrons on the weekend, possibly with some Easter themes. We will be in touch about that. We might actually try and have a little poll to decide which retro episode we go back and have a listen to, and we'll give the listeners a choice on that. Mm-hmm. And any other things you've been wanting to ask us. I know that Catty was saying like plot lines that went nowhere. We did do one of those recently, didn't we? But if you feel like in recent times there's been a whole bunch more of plot lines that went nowhere, I think Marky the criminal will come back round, won't he? But yeah, so no podcast next week, just a patron-only episode, and we will be back in some capacity the weekend after.
Yeah.
Keri sounds like she's hearing this news for the first time. She's not.
I'm not. No, I was just wondering. I was just thinking about our Lord, really, because it's Easter coming.
Here, did I show you the photo of the hipster Jesus I got through the letterbox?
No, Matthew, you didn't.
I got this mail drop the other day. I'm going to show it to you now. This is what I got. Jesus has had a bit of a makeover. So, can you see him there?
Oh, hello.
Yeah. So that was
Yes.
last week, right? And then I was chatting with Mum. She heard the letterbox flap, and then she sent me this.
Oh, it's the same man.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, he looks he's got a slight sort of Greek look about him, hasn't he?
Bit of Demis Roussos.
Yeah, he's quite striking. What on earth does it say, your leaflet? Is it to sort of get you to go to a local church? What's going on there?
It's a couple inviting us to come and celebrate the resurrection, and they've hand-signed it.
At their home?
I presume it's a church, but we did have a completely handwritten letter about 3 months ago from a couple.
Now, Jehovah's Witnesses do that, don't they? They put handwritten things through doors.
So this is some kind of... maybe this is the new Robert.
The second coming.
I'll share this hipster Jesus.
Please do.
On our social so people can see that it's not...
He's quite tasty, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he's certainly got it going on. He's the hottest Jesus since Robert... I was going to say Robert Palmer. Was it Robert Palmer, was it? What's his name, the guy that played Jesus?
Not Robert Plant, either, who I was going to... Robert... Oh, he had right twinkly eyes, didn't he?
He starred alongside Jasper Carrott in The Detectives.
Oh, I was going to say it was Jasper Carrot, or Caesar or something. What was it, Robert? Powell, yeah. He was just like the archetypal. Was it 1970s that he did that?
I think so. Too many Roberts with P surnames, aren't there? Palmer, Plant, Powell. That's all I can think of, but, still three too many.
Basically.
Stop it. Stop calling your kid Robert if your surname starts with P. Right, that's my rant.
Who calls their child Robert anyway nowadays?
Oh, I'm sure there's Roberts being born as we speak. No? Robert, get in touch with us if you think we're wrong.
If you're under 10.
No, Robert,
That's
if you're
what I'm
under
saying.
10, do not get in touch with us because I think that we might have legal issues. All right, Keri, let's I'm a bit delirious, so let's go and head off into the weekend. I'm going to finish the edit and then you guys will hear this at some point.
Lovely. I've just watched the season finale of 2 of Succession.
Oh, how does season 2 finish? Remind me.
God, it was fantastic, Matthew. They were on that boat having a family sort of conflab about who would be the sacrifice to save the company. And Kendall was chosen and I was heartbroken and I thought he's going to kill himself. And then he did the press conference and I shall say no more. What a banger.
Yeah. It only gets better from here on in as well.
Oh, God. Loving it so much.
Yeah. Make sure you watch Succession, guys, if you haven't already.
Yeah. It's much better than The Archers.
And similar in many ways.
Yeah, true.
I find Bridge Farm quite like Succession.
Is Tony... oh, God, what's it called?
Logan.
Yes.
You've just watched it, Keri. You can't remember the guy's name.
I know, but I'm really fixated with Kendall. Kendall is my man.
Really?
Kendall and Greg.
Do you know that most people absolutely can't stand Kendall? He really winds them up.
Well, they're fools. He's brilliant. Yeah. I swoon when he appears properly, which is why my daughter got me those stickers for my birthday.
Did you see he's been in a 2-man play with Michael Imperioli, who played Christopher in The Sopranos, and someone stood up and did some kind of protest on their opening night and started like yelling and shouting. And Michael Imperioli kind of just turned around and was like, "Hey, look, you have to be quiet." Jeremy Strong, Kendall, stayed in character and started talking to the guy.
Oh, amazing.
He was like, "No, let him speak." And,
oh, that's clever. Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love him.
That's the best theatre story I've heard since someone jumped up on stage and tried to plug their phone into charge into what was actually just a stage set plug socket during the interval.
Oh my God. That's good. I didn't know, actually, that most people don't like Kendall. So that's interesting.
All right. We'll see you soon, guys. Patrons will see you next weekend. Everyone else will see you in a fortnight.
Bye.
Bye.